there. The president tried to patch up any confusion with Republicans over whether he had thrown them under the bus when he called for, an ancillary spending bill that
Bingo. And right now, you get 200 megabits per second for just $49.99 a month and business phone for $19.99 a month. Call 833-919-2122 today.
Hi, I'm Jane King, and thank you for watching. This show is all about public, private, and blockchain companies. We bring you the innovators behind the companies making the headlines in that space. Some are sponsored, some are invited. All are curated and focused on telling you, the viewers, their story. Here we go. BlockQuake is looking to launch its global crypto exchange very soon. So with me to bring us up to date on where BlockQuake is CEO Antonio Brass, and then also Sam Hyun, the chief strategist. So great to see you guys again. It's been a long time, and I know we've been through a lot since we last talked. But so Sam, let's start with you. Update us on where things are.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for having us, Jane. A lot has been developing on BlockQuake's end. We've been essentially working quite diligently on the back end, just making sure that all integrations are set in stone. Long story short, our plan is to get live by the end of this month. So that's we don't have a specific date per se, but we are extremely confident that we will be going live by the end of this month. So we're extremely excited for that. In terms of kind of further updates, we are initially going to be offering a lot of the top traded cryptocurrencies along with stable coins as part of our BlockQuake exchange. And we are also looking to kind of have that as one of the trading pair supports with the US dollar. So it's important to note that for all of our future customers on the BlockQuake exchange, that they will actually be getting a multi-currency account for the deposit accounts immediately for the 6 fiat. So the 6 fiats would actually include the US dollar, the Canadian dollar, the euro, the Great British pound, the Australian dollar, and the Japanese yen. So, we do have intentions of adding additional pairs to the 6 fiats along with additional cryptocurrencies soon after going live. But, we definitely wanted to have this sort of scale up approach where, we do have, a foundation set first and then kind of aggressively scale up and ramp up as we go live.
Well, that was just what I was going to ask you about, because that was one thing I really remember, Antonio, was that you talked about, and you came from like the regulation part of the financial industry, and you really talked about how you were making sure, and this feels like this is like a fluid situation. So have you?
Yeah, particularly for both myself and Sam specifically, we came from an audit, compliance, risk background in banking and insurance financial services, and we've dealt with a lot of global regulatory matters and other compliance issues in our past life, in our career prior to BlockQuake. So a lot of that stuff is coming full circle now, where we leverage a lot of that knowledge.
Mm-hmm. So Sam, talk about some of the partners that you have right now.
Yeah, for sure. So, we have a wide list of partners that we're working with. We have this approach of working with the best in class folks in this space, and we do realize that, with a lot of these partners that we've partnered up with, that they kind of have their own strengths. So, just to kind of list, some of the few out of the many partnerships that we currently have, we are working with the best in class as it relates to liquidity as well as market making. So that's going to be our partnership with BlockFills and Secure Digital Markets. We are also working to make sure from a compliance standpoint and risk monitoring and all things relating to transaction monitoring, just to kind of ensure that there's mitigation of any sort of fraud. We do have a partnership with Green Analysis along with Solidus Labs. Just kind of going down the list, we are also working with Fireblocks, who's going to be our hot wallet solutions provider. We know that in terms of the technology that they use, they're using MPC technology, which is, one of the most secure security protocols that are currently in place. So we wanted to kind of make sure that for our customers that are coming onto our exchange, that they were going to feel secure knowing that, okay, BlockQuake is working with, all these big players, not just focusing on the retail market, but also taking into consideration all those people in the institutional market as well. We are also trying to find ways to make the entry point easier for our users when they're using our BlockQuake exchange. So another example is our integration with Plaid, which will grant our customers the ability to be able to make a deposit via ACH. So it's just an easier gateway for customers to kind of not go through those additional hurdles of having to wait too long to make a deposit, just finding more ways to make the registration process, but also just making the deposit process in order to buy or sell cryptocurrency as easy as possible.
Okay, so Antonio, do you want to chime in on capital raise efforts and where you are with that?
Definitely. So we've actually recently launched a Regulation CF crowdfunding campaign through the WeFunder platform. And for those not familiar with what that is, there's a lot of crowdfunding platforms out there. WeFunder is the largest out there, but you've got like Start Engine, Republica, a few others out there that might be known names. And it's an opportunity for people to invest in companies that are startups that are coming out there, whether it be through equity, loan-based, or some other structure. It's an opportunity to actually invest in a company. So we're doing ours through WeFunder, and that's at WeFunder.com/BlockQuake for anyone that wants to look that up. Our timing is just perfect with this. As we all know, there's another crypto exchange out there that's publicly traded, and the everyday normal person in the general public, other than being able to invest in that, we're the only other opportunity for the general public to actually invest in a company that owns a crypto exchange. So, we definitely stand out in that way, and obviously at a much lower valuation with huge growth potential in front of us.
Okay, very interesting, and congratulations on getting this far. And please come back once you launch and update us, and with all the changes that I know you'll be making over the next year or so.
Definitely, it's exciting times. I feel like every month is going to be drastically different going forward.
All right, best of luck, Sam and Antonio. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we have seen a lot of hacks, ransomware attacks in the U.S. recently. And with me is Alon Gahahi, who is the founder and CEO of GlobeX Data, to talk about that and how secure their product may be able to prevent some of these things. So great to see you again.
Great to see you, Jane, and hi to everybody who's watching us.
Yeah. So let's just start with, we've, of course, had SolarWinds. We've had the JBS meat plant attack. That was Brazil, but they have a huge U.S. operation. The Colonial Pipeline. There's been a lot. It felt like a lot there week after week. What's kind of your viewpoint when you see these stories? What are the things that you think about as being a privacy expert?
So all of these hacks, and by the way, the JBS affected North American plants too. All of these hacks are essentially happening because the software systems in the world, the global software system that has been built over the past decade or two, has relied a lot more on open source coding. And what's happening now, when you do open source coding, it means that you have a lot of people that can collaborate to improve the service and the code, so they function well. But the problem is that somebody can reverse engineer it. You have hackers that maliciously penetrate a developer group. And essentially, it's like imagine the secret formula of Coca-Cola, right? So, and then you can recreate Coca-Cola or spike Coca-Cola, which is what they do now with hacking. They put malware, they put everything like that. And all of these hacks, they really start with email penetration, because the source of information, the biggest communication style today for businesses is email. So a hacker will get in sometime for several months, watch your email account, trying to get information to see, any kind of thing, from password to your servers all the way to I don't know, how you process plant meat, or, what do you do for your pipeline? And what's happening is the email system today is dominated by Google and Microsoft. And the problem is that both have been compromised. We've heard about SolarWind attack with Microsoft. This is the first time that the source code of Microsoft was stolen. And that's a huge thing, because it used to be that if you have your server and you have email exchange from Microsoft and you kept it in your own environment, you were safe. And people used to say, well, I don't want to put my email on the cloud, I'm going to have my own environment. That's no longer the case.
Yeah, well, perfect lead in then. Can you explain to me what Secure can do? And I know your focus is on privacy. So let's talk about how people kind of put privacy, security together. How are they different, and what do you do? What's your solution?
So the first thing that we do is we don't use the big tech platforms. We have our own platform, so we're not running our software on Amazon Web Service, like I would say 98% of the software company, from Signal messaging to Dropbox to whoever. Even LinkedIn is using AWS. So we don't use AWS, Microsoft, or Google. That prevents 99% of the hacking to start. We also never developed in open source coding. We have our own proprietary technology, so we don't have millions of developers out there with our secret sauce that they can reverse engineer. So those two concepts are simple to understand. Don't go on the big platform, don't go on open source coding. On top of that, we store everything in Switzerland. Our sister company, the original company that started this whole development, is SWISF. I'm Swiss myself, and in Switzerland, we have the strictest data privacy laws in the world. The data stores only in Switzerland, in our own servers. So that's critical. That eliminates a lot of hack. Now, in terms of privacy, what we do, we have Secure Messenger and Secure, which is an email and a messenger app as well. And what we do, we have privacy by design. For example, we have a self-destruct timer on all our messages, and when it does self-destruct, it also destroys in the server in Switzerland. You can send a message to a non-secure user because, well, we have a special technology that does that. So I'm going to send you an instant message, Jane. You don't have secure messenger. You're getting an email to chat with me. You click and you chat with me. We don't require phone numbers. So when you download our app, after you sign up, you will never be prompted to put your phone number in our database. And the phone number is also a huge caveat, because everybody, once you have somebody's phone number, that's it. You can get into their phone, and even worse, you can basically go to their entire address book and hack those people too, and it's like a nuclear chain reaction.
Thank you so much, Alain, for joining us, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks everyone for watching us.
Tonix recently presented a scientific poster at the American Society of Clinical Psychopharmacology annual meeting, which detailed the positive results of a phase 3 study using TNX 102SL in fibromyalgia. And so with me is the CEO, Seth Letterman, to talk more about this, what it means. So welcome back, Seth.
Thank you for having me back on.
Yeah. So let's start with just give me an overall of this clinical study that you did for the fibromyalgia treatment. Bring us up to date on that.
Well, it's a big win for fibromyalgia patients. We think that this clearly shows that our model of improving sleep quality can lead to an improvement in across the board in fibromyalgia. The primary endpoint of the study was pain, because fibromyalgia is considered a pain disorder. And in this study, it was a 14-week study, and people got either our drug, TNX 102SL, or placebo. And after 14 weeks, the treated people did better on pain than the placebo group, and that was statistically significant by the pre-specified primary analysis. So it was a positive phase 3 study, and since you need 2 phase 3 studies for FDA approval, we think we're halfway home.
Okay. How big of a problem is fibromyalgia in the U.S., globally?
Fibromyalgia affects about 10 million American adults. About half of them are diagnosed, and about 90% of the diagnosed people are treated. But still, there's a long way to go to get the other half of fibromyalgia patients into treatment, because there are some good treatments already available, and we think that ours will also be a very important addition to the treatment options.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you've done 1/3 phase trial, and that was positive. So you do another one. How long do you think it might be before this gets FDA approval?
In the United States, you need 2 phase 3 studies for approval. So we've finished 1 phase 3 study. The second one, we're already enrolling. We expect to have interim analysis next quarter. So in Q3, which is just in a couple of weeks, Q3 starts. And then we've guided that we'll have top line on that study in the first quarter of 2022, so the first quarter of next year. Mm-hmm. So if that study is positive, we expect to be able to file the new drug application in 2022. So
what are the key takeaways then of this program?
Well, the key takeaways are that there hasn't been a new fibromyalgia drug in over 10 years, and a lot has been learned about fibromyalgia in those 10 years. I think the big differentiator of our product, if approved, is that it targets sleep quality. And one of the things that's very unique about that is we can target sleep quality in fibromyalgia, improve the pain, and yet we are using a medicine that is recognized not to have addictive or dependency issues. So I think it's a different mechanism, completely different mechanism than the approved drugs and in fibromyalgia. And we think it's going to be a very important option for fibromyalgia patients.
Okay, very interesting. We'll come back when you start to get that second phase 3 trial going.
Great. I look forward to it. Thank you, Jane.
Seth Letterman of Tonix Pharmaceuticals. GreenBox is in the process of launching a token. And with us to explain more about the process is Chairman Ben Arras of GreenBox. So great to see you again.
Good morning, Jane. Great to see you again.
So tell me about this. You recently made an announcement about the launch of the token. So bring me up to date. Walk me through this opportunity.
Okay, so the token essentially is a media that requires 4 ingredients for a successful launch. You require technology to be certified by an institution. You need a sponsor bank. You need a national auditor that can provide attestation as to the stability and compliance of the ecosystem. And you need seed capital. So GreenBox is now in possession of all of these four ingredients, and this token is about to be launched in the next couple of weeks. Now, every token is $1 in the transactional system of GreenBox, and therefore it works to increase the volume of processing in the transactional ecosystem. It also introduces new profit centers. For example, during the onboarding process, the offboarding process, and a few new exit methods, such as push to cards, the equivalent of an ACH or wire, electronic check, etc. And lastly, our token opens new vertical opportunities for GreenBox, such as money service businesses. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit more about the token later on, and I will give you an exclusive where I named that token on your show for the first time.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I love that. So now you just mentioned the financial services. So you just recently received approval for a deal with Northeast Merchant Services that adds 700 merchant portfolios, right? So what does that mean for GreenBox?
So the primary motivation for us acquiring this bin is to be able to utilize its particular properties, which are not available today, for our business. This bank identification number allows us to do our own risk underwriting and allows us to include new business verticals and much higher volumes. This bin is extremely rare. It's been around for 30 years. And it has some grandfathered capabilities. It comes with a processing portfolio of about 700 plus merchants, adding 145 million in annual processing and over $1 million in annual net income for the year. However, this was not the primary motivation. As I said, the primary motivation was to acquire the bin. But that's a nice add-on. And then on top of that, it also comes with a small office building, which we add to our real estate portfolio.
Thank you so much, Ben, for joining us today, and look forward to
Thank you, Jane. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. FINXFLO is creating a user-centric trading platform that provides both retail and institutional investors access to DeFi and CeFi products. So with me is the CEO and co-founder, James Gillingham. Welcome back, James.
Thank you, Jane.
Great to see you again. So so we talked DeFi and CeFi, centralized exchanges, which is basically what we're used to. But you're the world's first hybrid aggregator of this. Can you explain what that means?
Sure. So FINXFLO, we essentially aggregate both centralized and decentralized exchanges. So we've signed up and we have access to all of their APIs, and we essentially put them into one account, essentially one portal, which is FINXFLO. And by trading through FINXFLO, you're able to access all of those underlying CeFi and DeFi exchanges.
Okay. Now, what are some of the benefits in terms of offering both types of protocols?
So obviously, one of the benefits is that we have multiple traders. So instead of trading through one exchange itself, going through only one exchange, you only have access to the traders that are trading on that exchange. However, by us aggregating multiple exchanges, you have access to potentially millions of traders rather than thousands, rather going through just one and only exchange. We also get to offer a lot of different assets. So most assets are only available on one or two exchanges. So by us aggregating 25, 30 different CFI, DeFi exchanges, you have access to a magnitude of assets, or you will have access to them once they're added onto FINXFLO, which will be very shortly. And then obviously for the more DeFi, decentralized traders, we also offer staking and liquidity mining through the platform. So what that essentially means is you don't have to move anywhere, but through our portal, everything is very succinct and in one place.
Okay. So, I mean, you can have your, stocks and things and your crypto and DeFi all in one place.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then since your last interview, FINXFLO has announced several powerhouse liquidity providers coming on board. Coinbase and Binance. I mean, those are two huge names.
Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting, obviously, to be able to add both of the two biggest probably names in crypto today. Obviously, it gives us a much bigger depth of book. So we have a lot more traders. We have a lot more assets. So we're able to offer all of the tokens and all of the actual coins that are on both Coinbase and Binance themselves. But not only this, but we also, because of our institutional relationships, we've negotiated with all of our liquidity partners, including those two, much better terms. So by actually trading through FINXFLO, your pricing will be much better than signing up to those exchanges directly.
Interesting. So, and you mentioned you're talking to other liquidity providers as well?
Yeah, so we're obviously always looking to add to our depth of book and the amount of assets that we're able to offer. So it's something that we continue to actively progress, and we're negotiating with many right now. Okay.
Well, it's interesting. I can tell this industry is maturing because there's these relationships that the liquidity is getting deeper, and it's really kind of coming to fruition.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, many people kind of got concerned across the last week and a half around the violent move. Obviously, there was a lot of money wiped away. However, if you were involved in crypto back in 2017, a move like this is, it's a slight correction. There is nothing really to worry about. There's people taking chips off the table, and obviously they're going to do that. But I foresee for the rest of 2021, I think it's going to be extremely bullish.
Okay, well, we will find out. Thank you so much, James. And come back and talk to us once you get launched, and we'll have an update.
Perfect. Thanks, Jane. Take care.
On my show, I put no barriers between myself and my viewer. I don't use jargon. I never talk QE3. I don't use scripts. I just speak into the camera, tell the story, and we're invested together.
Fox Business, invested in you.
More energy?
Patty, what would you do if you had more energy?
Selling our house, buying this house. What do we think? Negative me. Too much hassle. Control freak me. We leave nothing to chance. We get a cash offer from Zillow. Give me the clicker. No. Gimme.
Yeah.
What's a strawberry watermelon? Or a strawberry banana? Or a mocha, for that matter? They taste so good. Who cares? Try a small Minute Maid slushie or a McCafe frappe or smoothie for just $2 at McDonald's.
Get the job you need. Get the job you want. Get started on ericsjobs.com. You're one click away from the opportunity you've been searching for on ericsjobs.com.
If something happened to you, what would happen to them? Their home, their education, their future.